Welcome. We are live now on the Be On Air Forum. We hope that you have joined us tonight so that we can learn about internships and opportunities. And you're here with the Be On Air Network. If you bear with us a couple minutes, we're still gathering folks and we'll be with you shortly. All righty. Well, let's get started. I think our people are going to start to gather with us here.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you found us here on YouTube, you're in the right place. You're at the Be On Air Forum, where we're happy to welcome you in with our guests to talk about internships and the power of internships. The Be On Air Forum is brought to you by the Be On Air Network of Media Schools, which, I see another guest. Okay. The Be On Air Network of Media Schools includes Ohio Media School in Cleveland, Columbus, and Cincinnati. We're Illinois Media School with 2 campuses in Chicago. We are Colorado Media School and Miami Media School. Our purpose of these Be On Air forums is to bring together our students and our alumni and anybody that's within our network to learn a little bit more about the topics that are interesting to them as they relate to media and how to give you that leg up so that you can become successful in that area of media that you're looking to find your way in. We have a large variety of guests that join us on a variety of topics, but tonight we decided to really zero in on our students and our recent graduates who are seeking internship opportunities and what those opportunities might mean to them. Before we jump in, I just want to welcome you in. My name is Linda Lejeski. I am the National Employer Representative for the Be On Air Network. We are so happy to have Tony Lopez with us. Tony is an instructor as well as an on-air guy, a TikTok guy who's got a lot of experience, graduate from our school. And each day he talks with our students about how to find their success. And he's also our great moderator of our Be On Air Forum. As we move through the hour, we're going to invite you to put your comments and thoughts into the chat so that we can ask questions of our guests and really give you the information that you're looking to gain. Okay, I'm going to ask my panel here, are you hearing a lot of reverberation or not too bad?
It's not too bad.
Not too bad on my end.
Okay. We're going to get started. We are one guest short, and that is Hef is not with us yet, but our other guests are here, and we're happy to have Russell Johnson with us, who represents the National High School Football Hall of Fame and the R&B Hall of Fame. He's a business owner, production owner, and he offers a lot of internship to our Cleveland students, but he's going to talk about how to make good use of an internship. Amber Phillips joins him. Amber is a double graduate of our program. She's just finished the digital media program. She's really done a great job in seeking internships. She works alongside Russell, and she's going to give you an idea of how she's found success in her internships. And then we have DJ Dream, who I met a few years ago. She's a graduate of Ohio Media School, Cleveland. She's worked closely with Big Hef, and we're going to get them up here shortly, but she's going to give her perspective of internships as well. So sit back and enjoy this hour, and please, again, feel free to put your questions in the chat. Tony, I'm going to hand it over to you.
All right, thank you so much, Linda. Welcome everyone to the forum. We do these every 2 weeks, of course, for students that are here. Thank you for being here. And for those that are not students as well, thank you so much for joining us as well. Before I do continue, can you guys hear me double?
A little bit, but it's not too bad.
Okay.
It sounds good on my end. I'm sorry. I don't hear double.
Okay, gotcha. Cool. And do we have oh, wait a second, we have somebody else in. Let's make sure we got everybody in here. All right. Oh, Hef is here. Okay. Go ahead, Linda.
Okay, just so welcome, Hep. We're glad to have you here. We'll do a quick introduction. Hep is another one of our internship partners. He's a businessman. He owns Capital Entertainment, and he's done a magnificent job in bringing on interns from school and teaching them the business. And he's really allowed his internship program to be what it is that that student wants to learn. He's got a lot to teach, whether it's the business side or the performance side. He's really been a big asset to our students and their growth. He's also involved with Epic Records. We'll talk about that. And he has his hands in a lot of different businesses. And so for his interns, there's a lot of potential for a variety of areas of growth. So thank you so much for making the time to be with us. I did see DJ Dream. I'm sure she's going to pop back in.
Okay.
And I'm going to hand it back over. Thank you all for being here.
You're welcome.
Awesome. Thank you, Linda. All right, guys, and welcome into the forum. As I mentioned again, we want to thank all of you for being here. We love family, right? We love our alumni, so we like to give back to our students and really just talk to you guys about your success and kind of what's going on. And of course, the ability to be able to counsel our students or anyone out there who's looking to do something in this industry. We know that this industry is not the norm, right? When you go to school for media, radio, TV, you name it, something of this nature. It's not the thing that you automatically think of. And so I always call us a special type of people to be able to do this. So I appreciate you guys for being here. We're going to get started right away. Listen, internships are huge. I remember coming to school and hearing that word 50 billion times and how important it was to maintain an internship, get the internship, and then work your booty off to prove to them that you are the person to do it. So first, I'm going to start with Russell Johnson. Russell, how important are internships in this industry?
I think it's super important, one, for the intern to be able to learn some real world experience, to be able to, get their feet wet, learn different intricacies of what works, what doesn't work when you're in a live event, per se, what could go wrong, how you can kind of manage the situation without getting frustrated. Uh, and it just helps the whole situation.
When you were in school, or just in general, how many internships do you think you've had?
I actually never went to school. I'm kind of learned, just thrown out there, real world experience. So
Mhm.
this year has been our first year working with Ohio Media School, getting interns. So we're in our first class between the three programs that I kind of manage. So I kind of learned by fire, thrown into the fire myself. So I can kind of work with interns, based on my mistakes and what I've learned over the years.
Amber, I'll go to you for this question.
Yeah.
We talk about internships and we talk about the ability to learn, right? But also the ability to be able to almost show yourself off, right? You have to prove yourself in a certain way. What's a good mixture of that for you when somebody is at an internship? How do you think they should go about it? And I know every internship is different, but what's a good balance when it comes to that?
Um, I would say with internships, people may not take them as seriously as a regular job because some of them are unpaid, but it is essentially an audition. So it's a chance for you to show off what you got, but also learn what you need to know. And it's also a way to learn what you don't want to do. So do everything to the best of your ability, apply for everything, even if you may not necessarily think that it's the direction you want to go in, because that's how you're going to find out about it. And you may learn something along the way. Like the internships that I had done in order to graduate, everything was totally different. Like there was a lot of different buckets, but I was able to see what I was passionate about and what necessarily wasn't for me. But you have to give your all with all of it because you don't know who's going to be in those rooms.
Would you
So
say?
it's a way to network regardless of if you're interested.
Yeah, that was a key point. That word networking. I was actually going to go to that. When it comes to networking, I'm staying with you, Amber, on this one real quick. I always preach to our students here about the word networking and how important it is to maintain. Yes, the internship is there, but really a lot of the gigs are from, hey, I know this guy, I know this person, he does good work, and then you prove yourself wrong. How important is networking at an internship or just in general?
It's probably one of the most important things. Besides work ethic, I would say networking is what's going to get you into the next door because that's what happened with me. I mean, I'm looking at a sheet now just so I can keep it straight. I had 14 different internships throughout school, and all of those things led to the next thing. So politics led, or no, the Cavs led to politics, and then did some of that. I did movies. I worked for the Cavs, the Monsters, the Charge, 92.3, 98.5, Star 102, Q 104, the National High School Football Hall of Fame, and then I was working with Playhouse Square. Ended up working with different record labels, worked with I made commercials for two different ones of the politicians I had met in a past life. Like everything comes around. So, but all of those things, they're varied, but it was because I met somebody at the last one.
Yeah, that's how it is. It's just basically how that looks. You know, I'll go to Hef here on this one. Hef, you know, social media is another level now. I mean, we have about 30 platforms that now that are there for anyone for consumption. They're free, right? Most of them are free. And so we see a lot of people use social media to either get jobs or really maintain a job. How let me ask you this. Sorry, I'll make it more simpler for you. Should 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 you have social media, and how should you use it to get a job opportunity?
I mean, basically, your almost like a portfolio, kind of like a bio or anything that you have and that you're up. That's how people really check and verify who you are, what you do, what's the quality of work is by your social media. Um, you definitely need to be on probably 3 to 5 different platforms, and I use the space uh, to definitely show off what I'm doing, what I'm currently working on, and even past projects. So I definitely, for the interns that I say, like, hey, let that be your bio, who you work with, how reliable you are, what kind of relationship you have in the.
I totally agree with you. You know, when it comes to social media, I look at a lot of the jobs now. Besides looking at your resume, they look for you. They actually go Google you and try to find out what's up there when it comes to your name. Russell, I'll pick it to you on this one. Have you ever Googled somebody to see what their background was, or maybe just to see exactly what they can help you with in your company at all?
I Google everyone. Everybody I come across. I mean, just to kind of see where where you've been at, where kind of get a gauge on where you're going. So like whether it's a graphic designer or a videographer, photographer, just kind of see what you have out there, and you can kind of use it like a timestamp to see where you were at. Let's say 10 years ago, 5 years ago, 2 years ago, to what your work looks like now. Whether interviews, anything.
Yeah, when it comes to googling, people in essence, it's always good to find out what they've been doing. I've heard countless stories about somebody got googled, somebody didn't get the job because of a post. And Amber, I see you smiling in there. Have you ever came across something like that before in your own personal life, or have heard of stories of that nature?
I try to be very careful about what I post on social media. I use it really just professionally. I don't put any of my personal stuff on there. Like I might put like one or two pictures of my kid, but I try to keep that just as my portfolio. But I agree, it's super important to have multiple and to maintain them. And it could be time consuming, but like even just recently I saw that like my engagement had increased by like 90%, and it was because I started adding more reels and things. So there's a way to get exposure off that. There's a way to get jobs, and that's actually a job in itself. That's something that people are interested in. Like a lot of brand managers, they have to focus on social media. But when you get the jobs that are in radio, those people don't just, they're not just radio talent. A lot of times they try to consolidate jobs into one. So if you know how to do social media, and maintain it, then that could also be an additional role or a way to get you in the door because you could do multiple things besides just talk.
Totally agree with you. You know, I'll kick it to Hef here. Hef, you currently, I see a lot of plaques behind you. Am I blind or is that right?
No, it's a couple. We got a lot of rewards for the work.
Oh, okay. So explain a little bit of what you do, Hef. What exactly do you do?
It's kind of like a multifaceted role, right? So I worked at Def Jam for a while, for over 10 years. I worked at Epic Records for a couple years. Now I'm currently at 300 Entertainment. So I'm responsible for things from Kansas City to Pittsburgh as far as market awareness for artists like Megan Thee Stallion, for Gunna, for a lot of popular artists in the country. So, and then I also have a print called Capital Structure. We have a film division, we have a content division. Of course, we have artists that's signed to the label as well. So DJ Wolf, who with G1079, Ty Bree, who's signed for under management, who's on Black Chicago, who's been there for 7 years, and a couple more artists and stuff that we're developing. So, um, you know, I like to infuse and create awareness for our artists. I did A&R for a long period, which got me plaques in the back with artists like Cardi B, sure, uh, Meek Mills, so on. And then I also personally like developed. So a lot of my guys that I Easy World Go, YSO, whatever that we just awareness and uh, develop some really dope records. Like,
So if I'm hearing this correctly, you're a producer, correct?
I'm more of a I do our work, so I help put the song. So finding the right producers, songwriters, finding
Okay.
the right people that can make an art successful.
Got it. Okay. So you're on the
But
business
I
side of
do,
things a little.
yeah. But I do work with a lot of radio stations, with a lot of television networks, a lot of media outlets as well. So when I'm saying create the awareness, going to 107 or going to Power to you know Detroit, and just develop a relationship between the artists, that market, so maximize and increase right exposure for the art, build the right relationships in the market.
Would you say the radio industry is important in what you do?
Radio, yes, definitely. But I like just not just radio, but we want to make sure vision in all the other different. Yeah, you know, we do have kind of relationships as well. Like every city has a popular blog, or Cleveland, like in Cleveland, every popular content community station as well. Want to make we visit all those locations. The artists.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, a lot of people say radio is dead, and it's not as popular as it was before, which is understandable because we know that the times have changed. We know that things are different in regards to just the outlets that are out there. But radio is still here. There are jobs in radio. There are people that really that do go to radio for advertisements, for sales, and internships are still available. And I'm sure I've come across that before in your journey with everything that you just explained right now, which is awesome to hear. Russell, what do you do? See, I know you're a producer. I mean, you have a lot. I see a list of things on my list here, but explain a little bit of what you do.
So what I do, I have a company called Liquid Raw, and I do digital design from graphic design to video production and website design. And along with that, it granted me the opportunity to work with my partner, who we've been together about 17 years now, Lamont Robinson. He's the founder of this museum, Hall of Fame. Uh, that we put together. So we started with the Rhythm and Blues Hall of Fame, and then we started the American Basketball Hall of Fame, and our current one we started years ago, but we've had it two induction ceremonies is the National High School Football Hall of Fame. So with those organizations, I kind of managed creative content, organizational structure. I wear a lot of hats and just piece everything together. So I work brought in you work started working with the Ohio Media School, bringing in interns to generate content for these organizations.
When it comes to organizations like that, I've actually done a little bit, not like what you've done, but I kind of know a little bit of the structure on how that works. You're working with a lot of people, right? You're bringing people in and out. Um, how does what you do or pretend or the interns itself? How is what they do and what they provide in regards to service help them get a job in the industry? Do you think?
Um, I think it could help them actually working with how let's say how we bring in inductees, how we reach out, we find contact information for inductees, communicate with them as far as sending them letters, getting them to in town, whether because we work out of Cleveland and Detroit with our organizations, getting them in town as far as arranging travel, hotel, setting up interviews for our organization and for other media outlets, and working with them hand in hand and making sure they're safe and get back out of town and kind of keep that relationship going. So Amber can speak on it as far as carrying on that relationship with some of our inductees. So like we generally have anywhere from let's say 15 to 20 inductees per class. And so you think we working with we do have some posthumous, but we will bring in family members for those posthumous members that we induct. And so we just try to keep that relationship going, which leads to contacts with other people. So like our football, we have players and who will say, "Oh, I would what you think about this player going to next year's class?" And so we just kind of rose from there.
And on the producer side of things, do you do anything in regards to music or
No, I only do video and graphics, no
gotcha,
music. Mhm.
gotcha. Okay, cool. We're going to turn back around in a second here. I'm going to go to Amber. Amber as well. What is it that you do? I see a
Yeah,
long list of you.
a lot. On the intern side of things, I was in the STAR program for Playhouse Square. I did that for about a year where you're like an usher, but they give you the opportunity to shadow people that are audio engineers or lighting technicians. So I got to shadow one of the audio engineers there, and it was amazing. Like just seeing how like the theater, everything runs with all of that. So I could sit in the box and learn the board. Professionally, I work for Russell. I'm an account manager at the National High School Football Hall of Fame, and I started as an intern and got to interview on the red carpet, which was surreal. And I didn't, at the time, I didn't know if that internship was for me. I was actually working on something else in the lab, and Linda brought me in, like, hey, you need to meet this guy. And I'm like, oh, okay. But I learned a lot, and it's a way for you to get your foot in the door and also build a demo reel when nobody wants to hire you yet. Like if you don't have all the experience and everything, it gives you an opportunity to show what you could do. And Russell gave me the opportunity to do that. I got to interview with all the players and coaches on the red carpet. Helped organize the filming, all of the other interns getting there, doing the after party, the induction ceremony, being in the locker room with the players, like it was unbelievable. And then we became friends after that. So that was something you don't know where it's going to lead, and then it leads to somewhere really awesome. So that's why I would say probably say yes to most things, even if you're unsure of it, because you don't know what's going to happen when you open up the door. And then I've worked at Odyssey for 2.5 years as a promotions coordinator. I organize events at 92.3 The Fan, 98.5 NCX, Star 102 and Q104. I am on the promotions team for the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Cleveland Monsters, and the Cleveland Charge. I've got a podcast where people from my past lives come on, think people I find interesting in Cleveland, and I interview them and find out their story. And that's something that I do for fun, but I'm kind of getting heavier on. Me and Russell actually just got to film. somebody last week, and Bobby Wilson is Jackie Wilson's son. So like oldie singer son's kind of keeping on his the legend. So we got to interview him about all of that. What else? I work with the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I am working with other promotional companies to help them out. I film other singers. I book bands. I'm around.
Yeah. That's awesome, man. When in the beginning, when you're doing this, you do find yourself doing multiple things, and at some point, it comes together. At some point, it comes together. You get the right opportunity, and you move forward. And so, kudos to you, Amber, on what you're doing. You know, a big reason why we brought you guys together is to basically to help encourage, right? And just a heads up for everyone, in 15 minutes we are going to open up the floor for our Q&A session, to where people will actually ask questions, and you guys can respond to them in regards to what you guys are doing, whatever they're asking. But I want to go back to Hef here real quick. Hef, by the way, do you have your Bluetooth on, Hef?
No, that's not me.
Okay, cool. I was just double checking. Thank you. Hef, I want to go to you real quick. We all experience failure in different parts of our lives, in different categories of our lives. A lot of times in this industry, when students come here, they experience a level of the question that they ask is, should I be doing this? Right? They're in the program, or they're working on projects, but they're not having as much success. And so, I'm going to ask all of you this question actually, but I'll start with you. Have you ever experienced that before into your journey, and how did you break out of that? How did you break away from having that mindset and stating, maybe this is not for me, or I kind of want to quit? How did you break out of it? Or did you have that?
Yeah. The biggest thing for accepting, sometimes you got to accept failure to move past it. So it was really keeping the same belief in what I was doing, and figuring out a way to, I always say, like, there's some kind of disconnection. So for me, it was just, let me readjust what I'm doing, and make and maneuver in a way that is beneficial for the artist. Like, I do artist development. So my biggest thing was like, I want Cleveland's music to be great. And when I started with major labels, it gave me a chance to learn the foundation, and then build support beneath what we have going on in Cleveland, what we have going on in Ohio. And once that started to come, then it was building the Nerve Deep, it was building a radio show, it was building different aspects that it takes to make an artist successful, and then utilizing that on whatever artist that's out there that I'm working with. But so it's just really overcoming your own ego, and making adjustments that'll make the successful, or make the project.
Yeah, and I can imagine you've gone through some road bumps in what you do, and things changing a lot. So definitely kudos to you on that. Russell, what about you? How have you overcome that feeling, man? Because we all have it sometimes. What have you done in your particular industry, or just in your experiences yourself?
Um, the way I look at it, in my experience, I've not had really many failures. I just look at it as learning experiences. We've had setbacks and obstacles, but I've never had any failure, because I think the only failure is when you quit at what you're doing. And we've just kind of kept going and going and going. And any type of, like I say, obstacle, we just figure out a way around it and just learn from it. It got better.
Absolutely, Amber. Same question.
Um, I think just getting out of your head. So the first time you do something and it's not totally perfect, and you're like, oh, well, this person did it better, I'm not very good, or whatever. Just take a step back, realize that it's a learning process, and then just use that as motivation to try again. I feel like maybe not always fail, like there could be failures. You can be like, oh, that sucks. But I think a lot of people quit in school because of all the other challenges that life has. So you're not going to make a huge, you're not going to be a millionaire going to media school and then getting right out. Like you have to pay your dues. You got to find your foot in the door. And when you have life happening, I had a lot of life happen while I was in school. And you're like, okay, well, maybe this isn't for me. And I feel like just breathing and seeing the goal at the end. You could just get mad, think about it, and then just use it as motivation to do better. Like you've already come this far. Life's always going to happen. So just stay focused and eventually something pops up or a few things.
You know, that's all of you guys. Great insight and great advice on that. One big thing here that's happening in our industry is podcasting. Um, everybody got a podcast.
Yeah.
I got one. Like, we all got a podcast.
I got one.
Uh, and it's a big thing. One of the biggest, I think, turn points because they were happening after COVID. COVID affected a lot of different people, and it's a question I like to ask when it comes to us being in the industry of entertainment, especially because that's what we're doing. Uh, Shannon Sharp's Club Shay Shay after the Cat Williams interview exploded.
Yeah.
We saw a hike in podcasts happening, but after that interview, it was like now an all-time high. And so my question to you, I'll start. Actually, I'll go to Amber here real quick first. How important is podcasting nowadays? How do you feel about podcasting? Because it's now almost like the number one niche at the moment when it comes to media, entertainment, sports, news. It's podcasts. You put a podcast up, you cut some reels during the week of that podcast, and this is how you start gaining followers. How important is podcasting to you?
Are we going to me?
Yeah, to Amber.
Oh,
Sorry.
sorry. I think it's important, but I think it's important to make something that's different. So I'm noticing a lot of people with podcasts and they have egos for no reason. And it's all kind of the same. I think to differentiate yourself, people want things that are informative and entertaining, but also that are just real.
Yeah.
I've got a podcast, Cleveland Collective, and on that, like, I'm not trying to like have anybody tell me something that's going to ruin their career. Like the Cat Williams thing was entertaining. I don't know what it did for him, but I just want to show people as people. And if there's a way to show people that even the best of us, there's people that have been in politics or sports or entertaining, whatever, they reached the bottom of the bottom and then they were able to redeem themselves and come out better on the other end. And that's what I want to get across to anyone. Like, I don't have an ego. Life took that for me. So I just want people to listen to something that just is real. It's not all this fluff trying to look fancy or rich or whatever, or like a baller. Like, it's just, we're all people. We all have stuff that happens to us, and there's a way to get out of it.
That's deep. That's awesome. Russell, do you have a podcast?
Yes, I produce a podcast called Music and Medicine, and I think podcasts are super important nowadays. I mean, I think if you have the ability to create one, host one, participate in one, I think they are like snapshots or like an archive of what's happening at that moment, you know what I'm saying, in time, like right now. So at any moment, like 2 years from now, 10 years from now, you can look back and see like what was going on, what were people talking about, what kind of information was being provided. Our podcast is hosted by Dr. Charles Motlin at Metro Hospital and co-hosted by Jerome Brown, and we speak on health topics in our community, and we bring on either a musical artist or we highlight some type of music and we show videos, stuff like that. And we've been doing it since kind of since the pandemic we started.
And how do you?
Sorry for the background noise.
No,
The neighbors are doing something.
You're fine. And Russell, in regards to that podcast, has it benefited you? Has it helped out? Has it made more networking connections?
I think so. We've networked with a lot of people. A lot of people within the city of Cleveland. We've had people on nationally. We actually have another co-host and he's in the Washington D.C. area, and then, we just talk about a lot of health topics, and it helps out people from like seasonal depression disorders, things like that you wouldn't even think you could consider, and I think it's very important.
Awesome. Hef, what about you? Do you have a podcast, or do you believe podcasts are important now, as being the number one source at the moment when it comes to just being entertained?
No, what I'm doing, I have a radio show, but back in to start. I don't have mine completely up and running yet, but I do think podcasts are important. The way of expression is another way to hear some of our favorite artists, our favorite people tell their stories and speak from a free point of view that I feel like that was kind of restricted before. Um, I think we all get put this certain box when it comes to the commercialized media, and it, a lot of people free reign the way that they tell their story and some of their experiences. If they're important.
Yeah, it does definitely provide a lot of background insight when people are speaking because I even currently, and you know what, I don't care. I'm about to say this on this forum. I was a huge Boy Meets World fan, and I'm currently listening to their podcast about every episode they shot and what happened behind the scenes.
That's
I'm
fantastic.
all in. I'm all in. And so it's one of those things that it provides entertainment as well. I do see DJ Dream is in the building. Um, popped right in. Hello, DJ. Can you see and hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, awesome. Good to see you. We're in the podcasting segment right now where we're just asking about how important podcasts are because it's booming, right? Everyone has a podcast. And we're talking about the insights and how it's important to network and just almost being entertained is one of the things as well. To you, yeah, I'm sure you being in the music industry, so how important are podcasts nowadays?
I feel very important. Be now is really taking over. Uh, versus, I think versus radio, they're a little bit more popular. Radio is popular, but with podcasts, you're able to actually see the person. Um, it's a good way to get your music out, especially for independent artists, local artists, things of that nature. So I think they're a necessity, especially since COVID. I mean, it kind of just blew up.
You know, DJ, we were asking around the roundtable here in regards to what everyone does and kind of like their work. I wanted to just bring you in because I see you a little bit later. What is it exactly that you do besides music? Do you have different entities, or what exactly do you do?
So yeah, I do DJ. I'm also a co-host on Hef's radio show, a Big Hef radio show.
Nice.
I also do videography. So sometimes I shoot, sometimes I'm doing lighting, sometimes I'm assistant director. So it just depends on where I'm needed.
And we also spoke about internships and how important they are. I wanted to make sure I asked you this before we get to my next question.
Mhm.
When it comes to internships, I'm sure you've done a couple yourself. How important is it for someone to go into an internship and prove to whoever it is their worth? And what exactly did you do to get through your journey?
Internships are very important. It allows you to learn your field prior to actually going into it as far as being paid for it. I started off as an intern for Big Hef, doing a radio show initially. And I don't know, one day I just kind of ended up on the show and I've been a part ever since. So you just never know where to take you. I've had an opportunity to meet a lot of people and network with a lot of different people. So um, internships are very important.
Yeah, absolutely. We're coming up on our Q&A session real quick. I did want to ask one more question to you guys because, like I said, at the beginning of this forum, I mentioned to you guys how we are a different breed when it comes to the entertainment industry. Let's just put it that way, right? Sports, news, all that is entertainment. We're creating content and we're creating events to entertain. This is essentially what we're doing. And so, a lot of people doubt themselves. A lot of people doubt the ability to do it. when they come with through barriers or through potholes in their journey. But we all have our separate ones. But I want to ask you guys a fun question that we always get to is, what would you tell yourself, your younger self, before you started this journey? Um, now that you've gone through what you've gone through, what would you tell yourself? Russell, I'll start with you.
Mm.
You look like
I'm perplexed. Yeah, I don't know why you went to me first, but I don't know what I would tell myself. Hmm. Keep your head up. You keep working hard. Keep learning as much as you can, when you can, while you can. Some of the playtime cut back and keep learning, because I'm a historian. I like to study history, especially history of Cleveland and Ohio. And I love electronics, so anything technical electronics. I build computer systems and networks and stuff like that. So I'm also like IT certified. So just keep learning.
you do everything, dude.
I
You
do,
do
yeah. I kind of do everything, but because I'm constantly like learning. I like to learn new hands-on stuff. Like I
everything.
was not good at learning in school, but I'm good learning on my own.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So keep your head up.
Yep.
Okay. All right, cool. Hef, same question to you. What would you tell your younger self before you started this right now?
Stay true to yourself. Constantly learn. Don't worry about evolving and keep helping others.
Okay.
That's it.
Sounds solid.
Oh, I got one more. One more.
Go ahead, Russell. Go ahead.
Always respect other people's time.
Mm. Mm.
Thanks.
Time is of the essence. Absolutely.
Definitely.
We don't got time to waste, especially
Nope.
for what we do.
Yep.
Awesome. DJ Dream, what would you tell your younger self before you started this whole journey? What would you tell yourself right now?
Uh, you have to stay focused. Focus is to me the number one reason why some people get um, what's the word I'm looking for? Sometimes you can just kind of fall off, for lack of a better word, but I would say it has a lot to do with focus. So just stay focused on what your goal is.
Stay focused on your goals. Okay. Very nice. Amber, go ahead. You seem like
I
you have
would
a lot to tell your younger self.
I did not think that I would be here 10 years ago. I used to teach Medicare for a living. And I remember the first day I had to train a class of like 20 people. It looked like I had like an allergic reaction because I was so nervous. Everything just got red and I stuttered really bad. And I would say, probably to my younger self, suck it up and buckle up, because I had to get tough and resilient and deal with a lot to get to this point. And you can't be nervous, you can't be shy, you can't be discouraged when 500 bad things happen, because at the very end, when it looks like nothing's going to happen right for you, that's when everything starts to happen. So you need to be ready for that moment when it comes.
Love it. I love it. It's great insight. You guys sound very mature. I like. I'm sorry, very mature. I like using the word mature. It just sounds better. But that's
We're
awesome.
acting very well.
Yeah, there you go. There we go. That's awesome to hear. You guys I know every journey is different. I know that every category and what you're doing is different as well. But I like to always say, as entertainers, just to everybody, all the students out there, as entertainers, there's a lot of pressure, that you're going to go through. But you must do everything they just said, because it is worth the fight. It is worth the battle. It all works out in the end, whether you get the dream job that you wanted or not. It's gonna be there for you guys at some point, or you're gonna be able to do something different that you like. It's just part of the game. I do have one more question for you guys. I'm gonna give it to you guys right after our Q&A session. We are here at our Q&A session now, and Linda, I'm not sure. Do you have any questions posted up in the chat ready to go? Do some see some people chimed in here real quick. see Dawn. Oh, here we
Are
go.
these students?
All right. First question is from Shantilia Coleman. She says, tips on getting better at interviewing people on the spot. So I'm assuming she says
I
tips
can
on.
take this one.
Yeah, Amber, go ahead.
So when I was interning for Russell at the High School Football Hall of Fame, I am not a statistics person when it comes to sports. So I tried to research everybody that was going to come past me. So I sounded like I knew what I was talking about, but that's not something that I can remember right off the top of my hand or head. But I can ask them generalized questions about how they got where they got and what they dealt with leading up to all of that. So I tried to give myself a couple generalized questions that could have worked for anyone, added a few extra in there, and I stayed away from anything that I could get caught up in. So don't try to over research and be somebody you're not. I am not a statistic sports reporter. That is not my strength, but I am good at figuring out who people are and hearing the more vulnerable parts about them, like what makes you a person, what drives you, what motivates you, what is the adversity you had to deal with. So just shaking off the nerves, breathe in. Don't try to do something that you know is not your strength. Figure out your strengths when talking to people and just shoot with that.
Okay. Anybody want to add to that at all?
Good advice. Know your limitations.
No, that's great advice. And just want to know a little bit about the person. So what are they doing? What they've been up to? You know, it's always 5 W's. So what are they here for? And I think most people want that, music. We get it to tell stories. Want to tell your story. Opportunity to tell their stories. Ask them open.
Yeah, that's great. Awesome. Thank you, Shantilia, for the question. Do we have another question in there, Linda? Pop in here real quick.
There are no questions in the chat.
Okay.
So we're seeking questions.
Yes, please ask any questions. We got a little bit of time here before we have to let them go. Linda, do you have a question for them at all?
Oh, I just love this group. So, when I think about internships, I always think about that potential for growth. And I think that oftentimes interns that are just getting started don't know what kinds of questions to ask of the internship partner. So for our internship partners, what recommendations would you give students who are starting a new internship?
Good question.
What was the last part of the question?
I, I think that oftentimes, like for anything new, the intern's not really sure what to expect, as they come on board. What are the expectations? Should they just sit back? Should they ask, I'd like to learn this, I'd like to do that? What kind of direction do you like to give your interns?
I would
Every time
say,
I have a student, or I always ask what's their goals, what direction do they be in, because media is so wide right now. So and then I can, whether it be they want to do admin, they want to be personality, if they want, a lot of people like to do it to learn about the, that's, but I always ask them every time, like, do what's your goals, and then let me be able to do what I need, and at the end of the day, we're going to create a goal for you. You can relationship your career for.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Linda, I'll tell you, a lot of I can tell that this group has gone through a set of circumstances and have had to overcome them each and every time, and we're successful at the very end. From the way from the way they're and all of them. I mean, from what I'm hearing, they're doing different things. They're not all doing the same exact thing. So there's one message here, and the message is, find out what you're gonna do, network, work hard, and learn. And if it's not going to be the thing that you want to do, it's fine. You'll find your niche. You'll find the right person that you need to in regards to that networking opportunity, and you'll get somewhere. So I do see the reason why you guys have been so successful. And of course, proud of all you guys. I actually can't. I would love to meet you guys in person one day. Of course, I'm from Chicago, so us and Cleveland people, we don't get along too much, but I will make the exception. I'm kidding. That was a joke. I make y'all smile a little bit.
Yeah, we don't have a problem with the shy. Not
No,
at
no, we
all.
good.
It's
It's almost
family. That's
it's almost,
family.
it's almost the same.
Right.
But you guys have been nothing but awesome. Definitely, I gotta visit, Cleveland soon in regards to just the campus itself. But I hope to network with you guys very soon. I can't wait to see what you guys do in the future. So you guys have been nothing but great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let us know
Thank you.
real quick how to find you guys on social media. If you guys have social media, just go down the list. Russell, go ahead.
All our social media we have with the R&B is rbhof.com. So if you go to the website, you'll find our social media, and most of it is rbhof. Basketball is basketballhof.org, and our football is nhsfootballhof.com. And then my is hashtag liquid raw, liquidraw, liquid raw hashtag. You can find that anywhere online with all my content.
Okay, Amber.
You're able to find me on Facebook, Instagram. The Cleveland Collective podcast is available on Spotify and YouTube. There's also a TikTok page for that. And yeah, you can see me around town.
Cool. Thank you very much. DJ.
You can follow me on Instagram at DJ_Dream. That's DREEM. And also at Big Hef Radio Show 216, also on Instagram.
Okay. And Hef.
It's on Instagram, and on Instagram it's capital structure E. Probably the best ways to reach me, and look forward to networking with everybody. I'll be in Chicago probably in a week. I'm in Louis, Columbus. So, but I try to visit all the media when I'm doing promo, bring it up. Looking forward to networking with everybody.
Sounds good. And this for you guys. Mine is at TLO TV Show anywhere. So TLO TV Show. If you didn't know, Jennifer Lopez is my sister's wife, daughter's aunt's cousin sister. And I just lied to you, but now you'll never forget.
Got some tickets.
Thank you guys for being with us. Linda, you want to close us out? Oh, she's on mute.
You mute.
How's that? A little bit
Oh
better?
yeah, Linda.
You know what? I will tell you, you can find all of these fine folks on LinkedIn as well. Just
Yeah,
by
sorry.
so easy to find them. But they're wonderful. And I think what the takeaway is from here is that there are great internship partners in each of our markets of the 7 campuses of Beyond Air. And if you haven't found an internship partner that is similar to Big Half and Capital Structure Entertainment or Russell Johnson and his organizations, stop by, talk with your education director, talk with Career Services, and seek out these kinds of opportunities because they offer you such a diversity of experiences. And as everybody said, like you're not going to hit it out of the park the first time, right? You go to an internship to get better at what you want to do. And so the more reps you get in, the more comfortable you become, and the more you realize what you're really good at, right? And there might be things you never thought you were good at that you're fabulous at. It's really been my pleasure to work with this whole group. I've watched Amber as a student come in, I've watched DJ dream. I've had a chance to see her in action at an event that happened downtown, and these two gentlemen are superb. And Tony is another inspiration, right there in Chicago. Ask questions, get those internships so that when you graduate or soon after graduation, you feel confident. That is the whole purpose of an internship. On the second side is the networking. You're all very capable.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Please reach out to these individuals. And if you're from Cleveland, we can connect you locally. And if not, we can connect you nationally.
We'll connect. Don't worry, we'll connect.
They're awesome. Okay, well, thank you, everybody. I appreciate our
You're welcome.
interns. Any words of wisdom before we say goodbye?
Mhm.
They just gave us a whole bunch, Linda. They
Yeah.
gave us a plethora of advice.
Well, stay positive and stay at it, because as I talk to alumni day after day, 38 years worth of alumni, the one thing they say is that internship made the difference for them. So let internship make a difference for you. And thank you for being with us.
You're welcome.
Thank you for having
Thank
me.
you.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you.
Appreciate your time. Okay, have a good night.
Good night.